Corey Day can't be stopped. Chris Madden is back. Actually, so is Scott Bloomquist. PA Speedweek will probably look a little bit different. What to watch this weekend and more. Let's go. It's Thursday, June 27th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you're new here, we talk dirt racing 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday. All of the content we provide is free. There's no signups. There's no credit cards. The daily shows are free. The website, DIRTRACKR.com, is free. The email newsletter, the slider, it's all free. My only request of you is to hit that subscribe button, either on YouTube or at the podcast places. You can follow DIRTRACKR on social media. And if you are so inclined, maybe tell a friend and share these episodes. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you that tune in regularly, so thank you for that. All right, I already said it once this week, but we are just basically out of superlatives for Corey Day. This past weekend, it was a big payday at Skagit, and last night, it was one of the more epic runs through a sprint car field we've seen in a long time. No qualifying lap because of mechanical issues that put him 11th to start Heat Race 2, where he promptly drove straight to 4th in 8 laps. And a 15th place starting position come feature time was no problem either. He was into the top 5 in just 6 circuits and then took the lead from Justin Peck on lap 14. He went 3rd to 1st on a restart, and that was about it. He led the final 22 laps on his way to Kubota high limit win number 5 on the season. He's now won 3 of his last 5 sprint car races, including last night at Lake Ozark, the Skagit Dirt Cup victory, and that Outlaw show at Knoxville. This is the second time this season he's had a 3 wins in 5 race stretch. This was the furthest back a high limit winner has come in the short 37 race history of the series. If you were curious about the last time a run like this happened, at least in a feature, I've got 3 races for you. Sheldon Hansfield went 16th to the win at Skagit last season with the Outlaws. Donnie Schatz went 17th to 1st at Volusia. That was in 2017. And Logan Schuchart went 19th to the win at Hanford in 2017. So it's happened, just not very often. Rounding out the podium last night were Justin Peck and Spencer Baston. Outlaws Carson Macedo and Gio Scelzi were 4th and 9th. Even though he was 11th last night, Tyler Courtney still leads the midweek title fight over Brad Sweet, but the Big Cat now leads the overall championship by 88 over Courtney. I don't know how Sweet finished 5th last night with effectively no nosewing on that thing by the end. Great drive from him. Brent Marks fell even further behind in the standings. He's now 192 back in 3rd thanks to 2 flat right rear tires. Side note here on Marks, we are definitely thinking about his crew member Fudd today, who was injured last night in the work area. Looked pretty gnarly. We saw that Fudd spent last night in the local hospital. I've heard he's having surgery today. Hopefully he heals up quickly. High Limit is off today before beginning a 2-night show at Lucas Oil Speedway this weekend. That starts tomorrow. Updating the situation on late model racer Chris Madden, things are looking much better for him as of yesterday. Madden announced a week ago that he was falling off the World of Outlaws Late Model Series because of health issues, but Smokey will be back behind the wheel this weekend. The team will not return to the Outlaw Tour, instead picking and choosing the rest of the season, and that begins on Friday and Saturday with the 50,000 to win Super Late Model race at Volunteer Speedway. So great news for Madden and his team and family. That show at Volunteer will likely draw plenty of other big names, especially with Lucas Off and the Outlaws in the upper Midwest. There also isn't a ton of other competition for late model races in the Southeast this weekend. Besides Madden, I've seen Garrett Smith, Jimmy Owens, Scott Bloomquist, Mike Marlar, Ricky Thornton Jr., Dalton Wilson, Dale McDowell, Brandon Overton, and a lot more are expected to run this race. If Bloomquist does actually race, it'll be the first time we've seen him in a car since that nasty heat race crash during the Dirt Late Model Dream at Eldora, where he tangled with Shannon Babb and got upside down. He had shown some speed that week, finishing 11th in the prelim feature. He told Kyle McFadden from Flow Racing a few weeks ago that this was the race weekend he had hoped to return to after he was hospitalized post-Eldora for a wasp sting. This guy all things happen to Scott Bloomquist. I'm not seeing whose car he will be driving this weekend, as he's driven for 2 different car owners this season. Earlier it was Devin Jones, and then his car owner for Eldora was listed as Terry Wolfensberger. Bloomer's best finish so far this season was that 2nd place run with the Hunt the Front series at Alltech in April. That Volunteer race is being streamed on something called grassrootsdocs.com. A 3-day pass is $60 if you're interested. Looking at other racing coming up this weekend, as you probably have heard me talk about, Pennsylvania Speedweek starts tomorrow night at Williams Grove. It'll run through July 7th with other stops at Lincoln, Baps, Grandview, Port Royal, Hagerstown, and Selinsgrove. Williams Grove, Lincoln, and Port all have 2 shows each on the schedule, so it's 10 nights, 7 racetracks. If you plan on watching via streaming, you will have a busy week switching back and forth between services. Both Lincoln races, both Port races are on Flow Racing. Dirt Vision has the two Williams Grove shows, and then BAPS, Grandview, Hagerstown, and Selinsgrove will all be on SprintCarUnlimited.tv. Like we saw with Ohio Speedweek, I would expect fields to be mostly local guys over the next 10 days with not as many travelers and invaders as we've seen in the past. I know that Jeremy Elliott talked about Brent Marks running some shows during PA Speedweek. We'll have to see if Fudd's injury changes any of that. Both the Outlaws and High Limit go quiet for the 4th of July week, and I would think a bunch of those teams will take the chance to rest and recover before the big money races start rolling in. I wouldn't rule out invaders completely, but it will likely be a bit less than we've seen in recent seasons. But as we saw with Ohio, that will open up opportunities for others to get some of these wins. I would definitely think Anthony Macri is a heavy favorite for wins and the Speedweek title. We'll see if someone else like Danny Dietrich, Troy Wagerman, Chase Dietz, those kind of guys can challenge him. They'll challenge him for race wins. We'll see if they can challenge him for the overall Speedweek title. Besides High Limit at Wheatland and PA Speedweek, you've also got the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars at Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin for 2 nights. Cedar Lake was a Brad Sweet stronghold before with the Outlaws, with him winning 5 straight races there at one point. His absence certainly going to change things up there a bit. We'll see if Gio Selzy, Carson Macedo, and Donnie Schatz can make up any ground on David Gravel for that championship. In Minnesota, the World of Outlaws late models are back to action tonight at I-94. They've then got River Cities Friday and Norman County on Saturday. Bobby Pierce with back-to-back wins right now will continue to keep an eye on this fight with Brandon Shepard and Nick Hoffman out front, and Pierce trying to track them down in that championship. If you guys, you want some other guys to watch, Brian Shirley, Ryan Gus, and Max McLaughlin all on 3-race top 10 streaks at the moment as well. I know we talked about McLaughlin earlier this week, but I wanted to bring up those other guys as well. If you're a dirt racing fan in Illinois, might I draw your attention to Macon Speedway this week? You can see the Summer Nationals there tonight for what I believe is the 44th running of the Herald and Review 100. If tonight is anything like the Flow Series show we saw there a few weeks ago, it will be a can't-miss race. And then Friday and Saturday, Macon hosts the USAC National Sprint Cars, which were also both great shows last season. I know there isn't a ton of crossover between those two fan bases, but you could do a lot worse than just parking your butt at Macon for the next 3 nights. Drop me a comment. Let me know what your dirt racing plans are this weekend. If you are headed out, make sure to stay cool and hydrated out there. It's been really toasty all week. I don't know where you live, but here in North Carolina this week, it's been absolutely brutal. We don't need any of you falling out of the grandstands. Maybe throwing some water in between those adult beverages while you're enjoying races this weekend. If you want to see your streaming service options, make sure to hit up DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. It gets updated every single day with everything that's going on around the different streaming services. And keep an eye on DIRTRACKR.com's front page for all the latest news and releases from around the sport. Hope you guys have a great Thursday out there. We will see you right back here on Sunday.